So now, considering the fact that the issues need to be addressed, and you've also mentioned about women getting training at homes, I would like to ask Dr. Prageeta ma'am, to what extent are we seeing remote options as possibilities for sustainable livelihoods in informal sectors?
First of all, thank you, Harshita. Leela Reddy Garu, Namaskaram, and Namaskaram to all the co-panelists. Uh, when we talk about working from home and paid work, etc., first of all, we need to go into certain fundamental aspects. Lockdown, the day the government has declared lockdown, the government's intention was only to curtail infection. That's all. కేవలం ఇన్ఫెక్షన్ ని నిరోధించడం కోసం లాక్డౌన్. కానీ ప్రాణాల్ని కాపాడే లాక్డౌన్ ప్రాణం మీదకి ఎంతగా తీసుకొస్తుంది అన్నది ఆలోచన లేదు. It was only to curtail infection. What are the associated afflictions? Government did not, or rather it was not able to foresee, because this is the first time we are really facing this kind of a problem. Now coming to payment and remote work, etc. Work from home itself is it a gendered concept? That's what I would like to ask. Is it really a gendered concept? When it comes to South Asian countries, as Leela Reddy madam said and Shravya Garu also said, first of all, sharing of domestic work is not really a cultural norm in our country. For that matter, in South Asia itself, India and Pakistan are on the top when it comes to non-sharing of domestic work between husband and wife. When it comes, otherwise India and Pakistan don't see eye to eye, but when it comes to unequal norms, both are same. And when it comes to remote work, we have two kinds of sectors. One is the formal sector, where we all are working. So we have this online method, at least, where we are able to gain our income. Otherwise, other categories of workers are people who are homemakers and people who are home-based workers. Both of them are women. Homemakers are nobody, but atiga chinna chupu chuse housewives andarni manam homemakers anes. And it is traditionally, these are unpaid work. They are working from home, working at home, and completely unpaid work. Families low, within these families, they do have family businesses, they do have family agriculture, they do have family poultry. Besides domestic chores, these women also help the family, help the husband in performing agricultural work, poultry work, family businesses, etc. But unfortunately, neither they are recognized as workers, nor their contribution is paid, nor do they have any kind of insurance or protection or anything. We have interviewed some women like this. I just asked them one question: Amma, meer inti pani kaakunda inkem pani chestaru? What else do you do other than household work? She said, no, I don't do anything else. It's only household work, because they feel that even working in their fields, working in poultry work, extending agricultural help, or working in the family business is just an extension of domestic chores, nothing more. So this is the traditional work from home workers, the housewives, who don't even figure in any national accounting or national statistics, nor do they find any place in the GDP of the country. Second are home-based workers. Home-based workers, these are very, very important women who play an important role in the global supply chains, but often underpaid and invisible. We never see them. We never ante. These are people who work at home. Large companies, multinational companies or subcontractors, they hire groups of women to do some piece rate work. ఇప్పుడు పెద్ద పెద్ద గార్మెంట్ కంపెనీస్ ఉంటాయి, వాళ్ళు ఏంటి బటన్లు కుట్టడానికి, స్లీవ్స్ కుట్టడానికి, they hire women. These women work from home. The convenience is they work from home, so they can manage work and home, but they are grossly underpaid. No protection, no insurance. The day lockdown has come, all these companies stopped working, so these people are thrown out of employment. Alagan veeledo chala sampayinchestunarani kaadu. Whatever meager earnings they have, even that they don't get. Even that they don't get. These are the traditional home-based workers, they are called. Unfortunately, there is no remote working facility for them. The day they don't have work, because the industry itself is closed down, so obviously these women are thrown out of employment. And now comes we all. the modern work from home people. What is the major problem which we people have? We are newly adjusting to this phenomenon. We are very, very newly adjusting to this phenomenon. The day there is no rushing in the morning going out, but definitely it is not so cool sitting at home either. Because first of all, no support services at home, no maids, no cooks, no plumber, no electrician, no support systems at all. And second thing is childcare, which has been a domestic responsibility otherwise. Now childcare has got a double responsibility. The first thing is homeschooling. We have to see that the child is attending online classes or homeworks or whatever. Home feeding, homeschooling, and home taking care, and taking care of elders. And we ourselves attending to our personal work, back-breaking work, which we never expected this kind of work. Because we are all used to sitting outside for 8 hours or 8 to 10 hours. We are all working outside and then coming home, then we have responsibilities. But sitting at home, the work has only increased. Luckily, some of us are being paid salaries, but there are also cases where women and men also, they are not getting their salaries on time because they are not working. In 2007-9, when there was a recession in India, men were mostly affected because a lot of them lost their jobs. But this time, in this pandemic-induced recession, women are likely to lose more jobs. Which kind of women are they? Or what kind of women are they? Women working as cooks, women working as maids, women working in retail, women working in textile, in hotels, in departmental stores, in beauty parlors. There is no remote option at all for them. Remote working option at all. And tailors, to large extent, tailors working under bigger tailors. There is no remote working option. So women, once they lose employment, or if their husbands lose employment, poverty touches women faster. Women and children are the first ones who actually taste poverty, who actually taste helplessness. And in this pandemic situation, government has definitely locked down maybe to curtail infection, but the associated afflictions were ignored by the government largely. Remote options are not at all possible for certain people. But again, on the contrary, we have another empowering strategy called as self-help groups, the Swayam Sahayaka Brindal, what we call. These people under COVID, there are certain groups which are doing very well. For instance, in Bihar, there is something called as Didi Ki Rasoi. These are all women who have actually started canteens together. Villandaru kuda grassroots level women. They have started something called as canteens in hospitals, canteens in various other places. And now they are taking it as a major responsibility to feed people during COVID. They are all working in hospitals. So they are asking the hospital management to provide them with some beds in the night so that anytime anyone is hungry, they are willing to feed. So for them, COVID means collectively we did. That's how they are projecting COVID as. So group enterprises are able to do well, but how safe they are as a group without that social distancing is again a matter of personal concern. This is another aspect of it. So when it comes to COVIDs and self-employment, remote working options, etc., remote working option is not an option for every other occupation. Some occupations are lucky enough. Now, for example, you look at frontline health workers. They are 24/7, they are expected to be in the hospital. If at all they go back to their traditional responsibility of taking care of their children, what will happen to the healthcare system? What will happen? Well, every day there are hundreds of people, dozens and dozens of people getting admitted in the hospital. What will happen in the hospital? There will be chaos in the hospital, pandemonium in the hospital. So at the same time, when it comes to remote working options for women, the options are yes and the options are no, and the options are yes, it is not feasible also in many cases. This is my
Thank you, ma'am. As Prageeta ma'am mentioned about women losing out jobs and there are short-term loss of work and any earnings. Now that you have mentioned that the working sector is limited to few, and previously as Pragita ma'am mentioned that few of them are working from home and they are limited to homes, uh, will the lockdown make women more disproportionately vulnerable to be laid off with already declining female labor force participation rate, making it even more lower? My question to Pragita ma'am.
Whether it will make, see, again, if I can come to this, declining rate of female participation in workforce is actually happening even before corona. It's not a corona specific outcome. It was happening even before corona. If you actually look at the lot of economic analysis across the world, the lowering of female participation in workforce, to a large extent, economists say that it is because of lack of supply of skilled manpower, which are skilled manpower of which women are a vital segment. With that, they don't have skills. But in some of this, what I find as an academic researcher is demand is also something. Why don't economists look at, of course, supply may be lesser, supply of qualified women may be lesser, or skilled women may be lesser, but what about demand? Are we really treating the existing women force with appropriate dignity and respect at workplace? You look at these ASHA workers, if you are familiar, again, these frontline health workers and Anganwadi workers, etc. These women, they are today, they are actually propagating about protections, preventions, going from home to home. Sadly, that and brutally, they have no personal protection equipment provided by the government. They are paid so badly, they have no insurance, they have no protection, and the kind of role they play in the society, whether with respect to maternal health, with respect to adolescent health, with respect to now health and what you call corona pandemic prevention and measures, etc. These people are even attacked by the families, by the male members of the families to whom they go on a house visit from home to home, telling women how to protect themselves during these troubled times. I believe they are even attacked by the family, and there is absolutely no protection. And these women don't get any what you call police help also. Now, in this, given this kind of a, why won't the female workforce reduce? Why won't it reduce? No protection, no proper earnings, no proper insurance, no security on the job. Then why to work? So more than supply side, demand side is also one aspect. And second thing coming is the social distancing is one more. I think it has taken a very bad turn these days. Social distancing, the government very clearly meant maintain some physical distance between person and person, so that you are a little safer from contacting infection. That's what the government meant. But social distancing, unfortunately, is snowballing itself into that despicable practice of untouchability once again in the country. Whether it is migrant workers who are losing employment, or whether it is these ASHA workers going from home to home, helping women on how to lead a healthy sexual life, reproductive life, maternal life, etc., etc. They're also being distanced on the basis of caste. I believe in Tirupati recently, some families asked them openly in a very the very naive, what do you call, very native Telugu, ఏం కులం అమ్మా అనేది, నువ్వు లోపలికి వచ్చే కులమా, బయటకు వెళ్ళే కులమా? This is what this is what this is one of these studies, because I have been a part of these Roshini projects and all, where we spoke to a lot of ASHA workers and all, and even the study is ongoing. And this is one, and that lady was telling, when they're asking, some of them belong to different communities, and where to practice untouchability is exclusively the practice of the is exclusively the preference of the owner of the house. He may choose any community, he may choose untouchability for any community. That's his choice, his or her choice. This is one thing, and one more aspect of reducing female participation in workforce. See, if you look at this, earlier also we had pandemics in the world. We had Ebola virus, we had H1N1, etc. At that time also, across the world, it was found that female workforce was deteriorating. The number of females were deteriorating from the workforce. You know what was the reason? The reason was simply that the child care burden of women has increased because it led to closure of schools, and closure of schools actually has a direct cost on pandemic control. The moment schools close down, it is understood that childcare is automatically the responsibility of the mother, and therefore the mother has to make a judicial choice whether to work or to stay. And H1N1 and Ebola virus actually started this. Every pandemic control, that is when pandemic controls have become gendered in the world, because the moment schools are closed, automatically the woman's responsibility is doubled at home. And now she is at a crossroads whether to continue to work or to stay at home and take care of children. If she chooses to work, she's actually taunted as an irresponsible mother. That's when obviously she has no choice but to leave the job and take care of children. Unfortunately, as I repeat that statement, sharing of domestic responsibility is never a norm in India or in Pakistan or in many other South Asian countries, and also in some African countries also. And female workforce is exclusively coming down. And slightly a little more, if we get into this, we are talking so much about women, but the other vulnerable section is girls, the adolescent girls. As Punima ma'am said, and Spandana and Shravya also said, girls are also a very vulnerable group. Unfortunately, as my co-panelist said, menstrual health, because we have done an extraordinary, or rather very longitudinal study on menstrual health, and we find that menstrual material in India is in a super shortage. The National Rural Health Mission has actually taken up a vow to produce hygienic menstrual material to women, but unfortunately the supply is very, very short. Do you know that women working in factories, they actually use that factory cotton which is doused with chemicals and various other things? They use that as a menstrual material. They use husk and they use ash as a menstrual for absorbing menstrual blood. In Assam, I have actually seen this in Assam when we went to do the study. In Assam, flower pots where we put plants in small pots of mud, they sit on that pot without an underwear so that the blood is absorbed by the mud. And the same pot is used by all the women in the house. They're not only that they are supposed to sit outside the house, they are supposed to sit in these kinds of. And now with the closure of schools, girls who were getting some kind of a menstrual advice in schools or menstrual material in schools, even that facility has been curtailed severely because of closure of schools. And therefore, even in India, mostly the day girls start menstruating, schooling is stopped. And given that certain other laws and policies which are encouraging girls to go to school, these facilities have to be there. And in most workplaces in India, especially in the informal sector, there is no toilet for women. There is no toilet for women. And even if there is a toilet, because they don't come under any labor law protection, madam, as you said, it is not an obligation for the employer to provide a toilet for women. I believe if women has a biological requirement, biological need to go to a bathroom, she has to beg the employer at least for 2 hours. Meanwhile, anything can happen.
Yes.
Anything can happen meanwhile. So obviously, these kinds of conditions, make people leave the workforce. It is not always lack of skill that women don't have skill, therefore they are not in the workforce. No, the ones who are skilled, what are you doing to sustain them at workplace? And when you don't have proper policies in place, etc., obviously women's workforce keeps coming down at work.
Yes.
We don't have maternity leaves. We don't have, many organizations, many sectors don't have maternity leave. You want to go on maternity, you go. It's your choice. I mean, we are not here to pay you when you're not working. There are many employers, unfortunately, even in 2020 thinking like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, from inputs from various speakers, it is clearly understood that women continue to be underrepresented in every sector, and women still face discrimination, and there is inequality which is in the society and which needs a change from a grassroots level. And I agree that this discussion is never ending and it will continue if you keep it going through.